Coming up next, we're very delighted to have Mrs. Nadia Omer, CEO Airasia Move, to share on the topic of disrupting the digital travel landscape. As Nadia has some unforeseen last-minute commitments, she'll be joining us online instead today. And to invite on stage Keynote Chair Session, our moderator, Ms. Ella Erin-Jones, Managing Editor from Finance Asia, to chair for us. So Ella, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's really lovely to be here. My name is Ella from Finance Asia. Now, one of the themes that I've noticed throughout the panels this morning, in particular from Fernando's when he was giving his presentation on Cisco, is the capacity for innovation to really build and enhance interconnectivity. And I can't think of anyone better and more equipped to have a discussion around the role of tech in building connection, in particular from a human perspective, than Nadia Omer, who is CEO of Airasia Move, formerly known as the Super App. Welcome, Nadia. It's great to be with you today.
Hi, Ella. Hi, everybody. Lovely to be here.
Fantastic. So we're going to explore the role of tech and the theme of transformation, really, within the travel landscape. But initially, Nadia, I thought we could start by perhaps discussing your experience. You've held various strategic leadership roles in different industries, and one of your roles has really been kind of observing the different themes that help build enhanced connection. So I'd like to start on that from your roles, Nestle, P&G, Airasia Move now. Can you talk about some of the observations you've made?
Thank you, Ella. The one common theme that goes across my career is habit change. So anything and everything I've worked on has been about habit change, whether it is moving consumers from switching from loose to packaged or from packaged to an upgraded packaged product. It's all about human behavior. And what's really interesting and common in anything that has happened before we came and also now and after we are gone as well is there are certain trends that trigger these changes. And actually businesses and technology and science is actually kind of like responding to it as it evolves. I'll take, for example, the travel industry. It's been mainstream travel for a very long period of time till low-cost carriers became a trend. And they basically disrupted this system because there was an inherent need. There was a latent need for middle-income families and lower middle-income families wanting to travel. So this is basically a solution to that latent need that already existed. In today's world, you can see when it comes to travel, I'm focusing more on it because that's really my passion point nowadays. What I can see is that travel again is being disrupted by not only different demographics in terms of socioeconomic class, but actually by age as well. And that is a major disruption. So today, as we look at the travelers, there are a lot of digital nomads which are coming in. So they don't have to be in office the way we have lived our lives, 9 to 5. So there's a lot more flexibility in terms of location for them. And there are different types of things they're looking for when it comes to travel. The other one are midlifers, like my parents. My grandparents never traveled so much as my parents are traveling. And they're traveling after they've settled all of their kids because now they just have the two of them. They've achieved most of the responsibilities and now they want to explore the world. So be it, the type of dishes they're trying, the type of things my mom is planning to make at home and the cities they want to go to, it's all changing. So digital nomads, midlifers, and a much bigger mix of deeper into the pyramids coming in is changing this entire environment. So what is it changing? It's basically changing in terms of people want to pay for what they need. They don't want a pre-packaged thing and to pay for things that they will never be using. So that's why, this modular approach to travel is coming in. The type of hotels and places midlifers as well as digital nomads want to stay in is very different from the very traditional traveler. So there's a new need for a different segment, even in the hotel industry, to cater to this demand. And then you have these people are much more conversational than transactional, which basically means they've not really made up their mind even when they go on to the buying journey. So a traditional transactional app flow will not work for them. So they want to discuss, I'm looking for this, what are some of my choices? And during that time, they may find something they like, and it becomes from a discovery to a buying journey. So all of these things are changing, which is pushing us to become much more personalized, to be able to predict and recommend things better. And that's where AI is coming in as a tool for us, because that data exists with us, but we now need to use it at an individual case level to be able to service our customers better. When there's less spectrum of differences, it's easy to do it with one cookie cutter approach. As the spectrum increases, we need AI to help us with all of these recommendation models and stuff, because we have to create distinct propositions for each one of them. So that's a little bit about my journey, what continues to drive, I feel, the human race, and where these disruptions are really stemming in is actually us.
I think it's so interesting that there's that kind of human behavioral psychology aspect to your role, catering to those different preferences, as you say, and that these have really transformed kind of post-pandemic. But I guess we're doing so anyway along the way before we were hit by COVID, of course. And as you say, catering to a more digital native demographic whilst balancing the preferences of aging populations everywhere. Could you talk us through then? You've touched on AI. How exactly are you drawing on AI as a tool to build a one-stop shop platform for your customers?
Great question, Ella. So I'll start with some of the disruptions I've talked about, and I'll share with you how we're viewing the role of AI in it. First, from a customer end, and then I'll talk about a little bit on the back end as well, because it's transforming how we do everyday work and chores too.
Sure.
Let's start with, like, customers are starting a journey without really deciding where to go and what to plan for their trip, which basically means they need more recommendations in terms of ideas for that travel. And that's the first place AI is hitting, which is a conversational thing in terms of, what's your budget, what's your timeline, what type of activities do you enjoy doing, and then catering to different itineraries coming in. So that's really fun, actually. I've been trying out a lot of those. I'm one of those people who is not very decisive. I don't know exactly what I want till I see it. So I'm unfortunately part of that lot. Yeah, I don't have that clairvoyance from the very start. So it's really helpful in terms of the packages coming in. And then, you can give feedback to it and it tweaks it with it. For example, I'm not really into deep sea diving. So snorkeling is my limit of, water sports. So it just changes that and gets me the right itinerary for it. And from there onwards, once I finalize the itinerary, the entire flow becomes, book the flight with the flight that I've already selected and the hotel and the activities all in one go. So this is basically starting with the discovery journey, building into a transaction, but the transaction is moving in a conversational flow. So that's one area where we are moving towards at Airasia Move. This application for us comes through in H2. Already we are piloting it a little bit and with very good results, but still tweaking it as we go. So that's one area to use AI. The second area where we are using AI is in our CRM. All the reconnection points that we are looking at, because when you have so much data on customers, you know the trigger points. It's basically like, for example, for me, it's Eid right now. So you would know that I would travel back to home around this time. And we know that a lot of our Filipina friends are traveling back home around Christmas time. Yeah. So we know these trigger points because we've seen it in their data history. So we can trigger them, a month or 2 months with the best deals to travel during this time. So it's using existing data that always existed with us. But at a human level, it was actually impossible for us to tailor customized CRMs for everybody. But this way, at least we can customize it to groups that we have tagged in terms of travel interests as well as travel timing. So that's the second area of customization coming in through AI. The third area for us is coming in terms of more like machine learning in terms of pricing and discounting. Because in this area, you have to throw out a lot of different um, you have to throw out a lot of different experiments to really figure out what works for which group. This we were not able to do before, without a huge pricing analytics study. Companies couldn't, especially startups can't afford those type of studies. But now with AI, we are able to shoot out different types of offers and really see the adoption and attraction of these by different cohorts. So we are building a lot of our pricing algorithms and our promotional algorithms based on this, which previously was just too expensive for a startup to do. The third area for us is coming in terms of it won't be necessarily AI, but loyalty programs are big. And there's a huge concern with loyalty programs. Like Airasia Move has the biggest loyalty program in ASEAN for any travel. Yeah, so it's one of the biggest. So that's why we have seen what are the issues customers face. The first issue customer face is that every time I'm issuing new points, their points are diluted, which is, it's not able to secure value. The second one is they can't use these points as almost like money. Why? Because they always have to interact or buy something with Airasia Move, and nowhere else would they be able to use these points. So we are addressing these two with blockchain. So with blockchain, firstly, the value is secure. So if I buy points today and tomorrow, say the company issues 1,000 more points, my value is not diluted because the value is marked on the day that I purchase that point. The second one is through blockchain. Now I can share my points with my sister, my friends. It's almost like money because that transaction is now logged. So there's no issue in terms of, what happened, who bought it. I don't need to sell all of my points or send all of my points to Airasia Move. So these are a few other areas in which technology is really helping us grow the loyalty program, build trust on it, and drive it more as P2P and almost like social commerce rather than e-commerce where we have traditionally been anchored. And the fourth area that I would want to touch upon in terms of AI is customer service. So when we look at customer service, we are inundated with queries, and there's no way a human-led call center can address all of this without building a huge cost. So what we see is that 90% of the questions we receive are actually queries, which can very easily be answered. The challenge for us usually is that a lot of those SOPs and docs are internally there, but it's in business language. So the way AI is really helping us is through deep learning, which is it's able to absorb all of our documentation and everything and churn it out in easy to understand layman language, like I would understand. Yeah. So that's one area that is really helping us with AI, that we can use it as a query answering one that addresses 90% of our direct customer concerns. 10% will require an agent to help you out, and those we are basically catering to. And then also, this very sensitive period of 24 hours before flying is a sensitive area in which the immediate access to an agent is important, because if you have an issue at that time, you need some direct action, and at times with AI, that is difficult. So this is how we are using AI. We find that chatting, in particular in ASEAN, is a great way. People are more conversational, even better, by the way, as we are building some experiments towards a voice call for Asian customers, especially midlifers. Talking to a human-like voice also really helps them understand and absorb information better.
You've touched on a lot of points there where AI is really disrupting traditional ecosystems. So just to summarize a few of those, it's driving efficiency. You have access to a wealth of data where you can really analyze customer preferences, find the best deals on behalf of your customers. Curate experiences also. You touched on the loyalty kind of program there and it being really significant, especially for your particularly strong base of customers in ASEAN. I know you're based in Bangkok as well. And then, of course, the efficiencies brought by having things like chatbots. So you have Ask Bo at Airasia Move, and as you said, you also have that human connection for the higher value risk, issues that crop up or where you need to offer that human approach. So there's a lot of developments that are underway. How exactly do you keep up with the pace of change when it comes to tech? You know, there's so many innovations. Can you touch on where you see the key areas as being in coming months, for example?
So look, it's a completely evolving mechanism. I'll start from the last comment I made, which was, say, on the call center. So we're not 100% there. It's a journey, you know. Sometimes with AI, you can also maybe not get exactly what you are looking for. It can be still a frustrating experience as a customer. So we are constantly upgrading our technology. So the next 2.0 version of Bo is coming in H2. And then we're also looking at scripts which our call center, the best call center agents are doing. And we are constantly trying to build them into the bot because it has to learn from the best. And I think that's a really important thing with AI, that it can only solve things within a certain parameter. But when it's outside that parameter, humans are much better, and especially the most talented humans are much better at finding solutions outside. So it is a constant learning curve that the AI has to learn from the human agent, and that's a constant journey happening. You look, there are a lot of bets that one takes when it comes to technology. Some of them pay off, some of them don't. For example, I'll give you an example. I think AirAsia was one of the first ones to move on to the digital platform when it came to airlines. Now it's pioneering, and it's moved the like 80% of our transactions happen through online. But it also comes with its drawbacks, which is people who started their OTA journey, say in 2018, 2019, their back-end suite is much more efficient versus what we built on. Yeah, so because technology is upgrading so frequently, sometimes being a first mover can also mean you will constantly have a little bit more extra work to catch up. And sometimes starting late doesn't mean that you missed the bus. In fact, it can leapfrog you in many areas too. So what is the right point for that technology adoption? I think that's the tricky part. It's a bit of a science and an art, and a bit of a gamble that one takes as well. So when it comes to AI, you know, every new AI platform is coming up. And unfortunately, as a company, we can't keep changing our platforms all the time. So we've taken a bet on one or two, and we want to stick with those and make sure that we are able to be, you know, stable and progressively improve. It may not be the best, but in the long run, it will work for us. So you can't predict, you know, because Microsoft has their AI, Google has their own AI, you know, there are multiple other versions of it coming through. So you take a bet. And so does AWS. You know, so you have to take a bet and stay the course with it, and through progressive improvement. I would say that for us, whenever a new technology or something new comes in, we are a bunch of very curious people and very young lot as well. So our team members are always trying out in for their personal work and stuff to see how it works. And if it's really something great, there's always ideas coming in. You know, like you know, I have a great idea. We can automate this part. We can use it for this. So there's always this conversation happening. It's not necessarily always from the top. In fact, majority of the push for new technology for us is really coming from our grassroots technological developers and also our marketeers.
Fantastic. So it's really about adopting technology, but having that flexibility inbuilt to adapt as new innovations crop up. We're really out of time there, Nadia. Just any final thoughts on trends going forwards in the travel space when it comes to disruption, anything you see over coming months?
Thank you so much, Ella. I think travel is definitely changing. It's more about spontaneity. It's about shorter trips, more frequent trips. It's about authenticity. So people wanting to find those hidden gems where they could get a more local experience. Michelin street star is now more sought after than a Michelin restaurant. So this entire thing of going back to the roots, having more authentic experiences, exploring and seeing more people who are different from you, and I think making it almost like a life journey. Travel is part of it. More and more people are spending a higher share of wallet on travel, and that's basically what's fueling this entire growth, this entire spectrum of travel products and travel-related growth, which this entire world is experiencing, in ASEAN in particular. So that would be my final thought.
Fantastic. Yes, we're all enjoying being able to connect with people in person and travel once more. Look, Nadia, thanks ever so much for sharing your insights. And I'm sure our audience can get in touch with you and follow up later if they have anything additional they might want to explore.
Thank you so much, Ella, and thank you, Nadia, for the inspiring sharing. Thank you.